Hello and welcome back to Duckburg. I'm Professor Toybox and I've got Donald Duck with me once again. Sorry for not posting this yesterday, but I needed a little break after the 3-day build marathon for the Magician's Castle interior that I did over the weekend. I'm glad I took the time to do that so the Toybox Tutorials series can continue this Friday on schedule, but that meant I had to put DuckTales on the back burner. But anyway, we're back, and today I'm going to work on part 2 of my alien invasion story. The aliens aren't happy that we stopped their ground assault, so now they're back with a small fleet of ships in the skies over Duckburg. And so that's what we're going to build today, and the player has to shoot those down. Once again, to save time, I've dropped some locators, 5 of them, and an enemy wave generator. And I've connected up the locators with the new locator connection option. So those are ready to go. And that's all I've done so far. The next thing we're going to need is the vehicle summoner, because we're going to need an aircraft to shoot these down with. So I'm going to put this here. And then we're also going to need a button in order to activate this toy. And I'm going to push this over here. And I'm using a vehicle summoner because that will save some memory. So on the vehicle summoner, or on the button rather, we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. And on the vehicle summoner, we'll look under the toy box category, and we're going to use the attack copter. And by hooking this up again to the vehicle summoner, if we have just one player, they can summon 1. If we have 2 players, they can summon 2. We don't have 2 aircraft sitting out here on the tarmac not being used, so that's good. Alright, so we have our vehicle, and now we need a few more creativitoys. I'm actually going to reuse this radar marker from last time. There's no reason we can't do that. The text displayer, though, we're going to need another one because this one here that we had last time is hooked up to the previous mission. And we'll also need another dynamic trigger, so I'll drop that here. And I'll kind of keep them lined up with the other 2 just so I remember what they are. And we're also going to need a couple of other toys. So I'm going to need, let's see, I think I already passed it. We're going to need a replayer. I'll put this out over here. And we're going to need a collectible tracker. Right there. And that should be everything we need. So for the dynamic trigger, we're going to do a new actor connection, and we'll connect that up once again to Launchpad. Like that. And on the properties for the dynamic trigger, I'm going to set it to be the connected actor, not on this toy. And the trigger distance, again, we'll set to 4. So you'll have to be fairly close to him. And that'll set up a radius around him. And then for the text displayer, under the properties, texturation 4, text style, again, will be a proposal. For the enemy wave generator, I'll set up the wave, and we'll use the same alien robots as last time from Stitch's Tropical Rescue. That way the player knows it's the same enemy. And I want to have 5 of those, and they're going to show up here at the airport this time. And the only thing we're going to change under here is to set the generation delay to 0. So now that toy is ready to go. For the collectible tracker, under the properties, the collectible type, I'm going to set this to be, let's see, there we go, the Armored Combo Challenge Orb. That's a mouthful, but that's the name of the piece we're going to use, and I want to show them on the radar. And then for the replayer, I'm going to set the playback interval to 0 because I want them to show up right away. And we'll go ahead and do the replayer setup next. So I'm going to step on the replayer to open the menu in the lower right corner, press B on my Wii U to start recording, and then step off so I can get back in the toy box drawers. And I'm going to come down to the Gameplay Toys drawer and go right from the Vehicle Summoner to find the collectibles. We'll have to go a little ways here. Might have been faster if I favorited this, but this way you can see where these toys are in the drawers. And we're almost there. There it is. That's the one I want to use. Kind of looks a little like an alien spaceship, possibly. So I'm going to set this up about here, and we're going to go upward. And I'm going to set this right up here in the sky over the airport. We'll put the first one here. And we'll put another one over here. And you want to put these probably at differing heights so that the player has to go up and down to try to get to them. They're flying in a 3D space, so it's good to kind of put these around a little bit. Different heights, different locations. We'll put one out over here above Scrooge's mansion. And I'll drop this one down a little bit. And we'll put another one out over on this end of the city. So maybe about over here. And I'm going to put this one up a little bit higher. And there should probably be one over the money bin, because that's a building that looks important. It stands over by itself, so the aliens might think that's a building of some significance for the humans, or in this case the ducks. And of course the bridges look like strategic targets, so we'll set one of these over the end of the bridge over here, and that gets the player out over this end of the toy box. And we'll lower this one a little bit more so it's a little closer to the bridge. And we'll put one more out over the farm. So that's a total of 7. I think that's enough. You can add a few more if you like. Doesn't really matter. Put that one up a little ways. And now if we exit out of the editor, it should put us over by the replayer. So I can step on the replayer to open the menu, press B to stop recording, A to clear. And again, only press those buttons once, because if you don't, it could screw up the replayer. Alright, so everything is ready to go. We just need to hook it all up. So I want this mission to become active after the part 1 of the alien invasion is done. And that's all kicked off by the counter over here that we set up last time. So on the counter, I'm going to open the logic menu and do a new logic connection. When the target is reached, so when they've saved all the townspeople, we're going to come back over to the radar marker over here and activate it again, because now Launchpad has a follow-up mission for you. And on the counter, we'll do a new logic connection when target is reached. And we need to turn on the new dynamic trigger. And I want that trigger to be off when we first come into the toy box. So I'm going to come over here to the level starter that we put down in an earlier video. Oop, that one. And we're going to do a new logic connection on Catalyze. And we'll turn off that new dynamic trigger, because I don't need both of these dynamic triggers on at the same time. That would be bad. We only want this one active initially when we come into the toy box. So now we're plugged into the original mission. And next thing we can do is on the dynamic trigger, when they walk over to talk to Launchpad the second time, we'll do a new logic connection when entered by player. Any. We're going to come over to the new text displayer, And I'm going to go down to the survival modes category. And we're going to do prepare for enemy attack, the same message we used last time. And now on the text displayer, this is what will kick off the whole mission. So when the text proposal is accepted, first thing we'll do is turn off that dynamic trigger because we're done with it. And the next thing we'll do on text proposal accepted is we'll turn off this radar marker. And the next thing we'll do is on text proposal accepted, we're going to come over to the enemy wave generator and generate the wave, and that will put 5 robots here right at the airport to try to intercept you before you go up to destroy their ships. And then new logic connection on the text displayer. On text proposal accepted, we'll come over to the replayer and do a playback, and that will put those collectibles, the enemy ships, up in the sky. And I believe that's everything that we need the text displayer to do. Just reviewing my notes. Yeah. Okay, so then the enemy wave generator, will put the enemies in here. The player will battle those. And when that's done, there's nothing this needs to do. So then the player would come over and get their attack copter and go up in the sky and start shooting down those things. So everything else will be kicked off by the collectible tracker, which will keep track of the ships or collectibles that are destroyed. And so on the collectible tracker, we'll do a new logic connection. When the final collectible is collected, I want to come back over to the replayer just to clean it up. We'll do a clear. And then we also need to trigger the end of the mission. So on the collectible tracker, when the final collectible is collected, we're going to come over here to the sound generator that we put down in an earlier video. And once again, we'll play our standard musical fanfare, which tells the player the mission is done. And back over to the collectible tracker, we'll do a new logic connection when the final collectible is collected. We'll come over to the action enforcer. And we'll have all the players celebrate. And that should be everything. This is a little bit simpler mission to implement, so that's kind of good. So I'm going to come out here, and once again I'm going to save my game, and then I'm going to play through part 1 again, because if I walk up to Launchpad right now, I've reloaded the toy box, so that'll kick off part 1 of the mission. And when I get close to the end of part 1, I will come back in, and we'll see how the rest of this plays out. So I'll be back in just a few moments. Okay, I'm back. I've saved my game. Whoa! And I have exited and reloaded the toy box. And I'm playing through the first mission, and I've got the last townsperson. And that guy is guarding the door. There we go. Whoa! Okay, so that takes care of the last of those. And you may not have noticed, but the radar marker is back on at the airport now, because we saved the last townsperson and the counter went off. So we come back over to the airport, and now we can run up to Launchpad, and he says prepare for enemy attack, and we'll say continue. And now here come the enemies. They're meeting us here at the airport. Oh, wow, that enemy jumped at me. I don't remember those robots doing that. Okay, so that takes care of them. So now you see we have the collectibles up in the sky, and they're on the radar screen. So now we need to get in a helicopter and go shoot them down. Whoa! Well, I guess that's one way to get rid of it, is to actually run into the thing. Yeah, I ran into it. Well, that works. May not want to put that collectible right above where the helicopter is. Looks like we need to go up just a little more. There we go. So as I mentioned in the very first video, this is kind of a nice change of pace from your standard collectible quest. I kind of like it. Something a little bit different to do. Target practice, essentially. There we are. And another one over at the money bin. Okay, that took care of that one. 2 more to go. And you can use a number of different flying vehicles for this. I kind of like the attack helicopter though, because it's slow and the missiles shoot in a straight line. Some of the other ones, like the Incredibles copter, looks cooler and everything, but doesn't work quite as well because it shoots differently. It actually launches the bombs towards the ground, and so you kind of have to position yourself above the target and drop the bomb sort of on it in front of you. So it's a little bit harder, but if you want a little bit different challenge, that's kind of a good one to use. So with that, whoa, I crashed into the building. Anyway, that's it for the alien invasion story. I've got one more DuckTales video left, but I'm going to save that for next Monday because I need some time to finish up my next toy box and get that series ready to go. In the meantime, I want to thank you for your comments and feedback. It seems like you've really enjoyed this series, and if so, you'll be happy to know that I'm planning to do another adventure with Donald and his Uncle Scrooge later this year. I shared a brief glimpse of it in my 500 subscriber celebration video, so check that out if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber yet and you enjoy Disney Infinity, all you have to do is click the follow button on my blog or my picture in the lower right corner of this video. For those of you who would like to build my toy boxes on your own console or PC, be sure to check out my blog where you'll find floor plans and logic diagrams to help you out. Until next time, thank you for watching and have a great week.